Okay then guys, so welcome back to my Mk1 Raleigh chopper restoration series. Now this is part 5, and in part 4 I finished rebuilding the original seat, and I managed to also get the forks back into the frame using the original bearings and the freshly re-chromed headsets. Now in this video I'm hoping to test fit the seat with the sissy bar, get the bottom bracket fitted, and also get the rear mudguard fitted to the frame. So let's get into it. So apologies, but I got a little bit ahead of myself. Now I went just to test fit the rear mudguard, just to make sure that all the holes line up, which they do, because I've actually fitted the original screws and washers, and underneath you can see the original square nuts, and then down here you'll see a nice brand new screw because the original one had rusted. But yeah, sort of test fitting it and then ended up fitting it. So unfortunately I didn't film that part, but it is done and it looks fantastic. So what I'm going to move on to next, I think, is the bottom bracket. Okay then guys, so here we have the original and very clean bottom bracket. I did have this vapor blasted. You can see the original Raleigh crest in incredible condition. The end cap I've polished up, just used the brass fixture in my drill and a bit of metal polish, and it has come out absolutely perfect. So very, very happy with that. And we have some new bearings because the old ones were just all loose. I do have them. They are down in this pot, as you can just about see. But I want some new ones, and these very handily come in a frame or casing which secures all the bearings, which is fantastic. So yeah, gonna apply lots of grease to those, slide them on, and we can get this into the one side on the frame, which already has the cap installed, which you can see through there. And then we can get the cap on and secure it in that end, ready for the pedal arms. So if you're using these bearings in particular, which are the ones I've bought, you can see they're sort of domed on one side and the bearings are more prominent on the other. Now what I've been told is that this domed part is what goes onto the bottom bracket, and so the ball bearings, the side with the ball bearings that protrude, go into the end caps. So that is the orientation which you want to slide it onto the bottom bracket, like so. Just like that, plenty of grease. And now just to put the end cap on this side, and that is in. So I've just backtracked and I've removed the bottom bracket because I forgot to polish these ends up, because you will see a part of this. So you can see originally here where it was dull. But yeah, these end parts have been polished up just so they look a little bit shiny against the new chrome. So now I can put the bearings back on and get this all buttoned up. And just remember guys, that one side is slightly longer than the other. Now the longer side you want on the right hand side of the bike, so basically where the sprocket is. So the sprocket side needs to be the longer side. So we need to put this in this way. Just needs a helping hand with an adjustable. So I will get this on as far as I can, and then it is time to put the locking washer on. So with that locked into place, which I'll do in a sec, that is the bottom bracket now fitted, ready for the pedal arms to be secured with my nice new cotter pins. Okay, so that is now in and secure. Now, before I put the rest of it on, I think what I'd like to do is try out the seat with the sissy bar, clamp that in place, and I'm going to use that with a freestanding bike stand. My brother has one, I did have one, and I gave it to him. So I'm going to borrow it back, so then I can at least have this up, and then I can fit the rest of the bits without it having to be on the sofa. So I'll grab the sissy bar and the seat, and I'll give it a little bit of grease just in here and down in here, and then hopefully I'll never have the issue of them seizing like they used to originally. Not that this is ever going to be out in any damp or wet weather, but just a precaution. So yeah, let me grab the bits and we'll test fit them and see how they look. So I have the seat ready here to go. It's already got the bar in, but we can undo that and get it ready to slide through the sissy bar, which I have led out here. So the clamps I've already put together and is now on. Loads of movement there. The top part of the spring cap, the spring itself, and then the lower caps are already on the frame. So I'm just going to put a very thin layer of grease onto here. Not quite sure how far up to go because I'm not sure the height of the seat just yet. But yeah, some is going to be better than none. So I'll probably come up about 4 inches. I think that'll be more than enough. And at least then there's something inside. And I'll do the same in here. I'll just line this here with some grease for the seat post. So hopefully all this goes in well, and yeah, it will start looking like a chopper. So there is a little bit inside there. Don't know if you can pick it up, but just a thin layer of grease. And the same here. So hopefully that'll protect it for years to come. As I said, this will never see any form of damp or rain, but I want to be precautious, and I have been told that this is always a good idea. So let's get the sissy bar in and then see if we can get the seat in and bolt it all up. Wow, I'm really happy with that. That goes in beautifully, so fair play to Paul. And obviously the jig that he's got has worked magic. So now, time for the seat. Get the post in, we'll line up the bolt, put it through the sissy bar, and then we can set the height. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to look. Okay, so these are all nice and tight and secure. Same with the seat post clamp. So now that is done, I can now have this suspended, so I can now fit the crank slash pedal arms, because I now have my brother's bike support. So I can put it in here, so I know that I don't have to have it sat on my sofa as it has been. And from that point on, when they do return, I can then safely fit the wheels, etc. But for now, let's get this up on here, and we will get the crank slash pedal arms fitted into place. Okay then guys, so it is nice and secure on the bike stand. I've just added a little bit of grease to the bottom bracket, so now we can get the crank on and then get the new cotter pins in and get this secured. And I'll do the same with the arm on the other side. So when it comes to fitting the drive side, you're going to want the arm facing the front of the bike. So I've just positioned the bottom bracket like so. I'll slide this on, and then you want to slide the cotter pin from the bottom up, so the threaded part is at the top. So I'll do that now. Always apply a little bit of grease to the cotter pin itself, and then that can go in, and then you have a washer and a nut to secure it into place. So that's how you want it, facing the front with the nut at the top. And we'll do the same on the opposite side with this arm here. And as you can see there, that is now the opposite side done. So it's exactly the same with this facing forwards. You want the nut at the top. And with that, you should be able to see that both the arms are now parallel, because I've once before made the mistake that when you put these in the wrong way, it actually tilts one of the arms down, so they're not parallel. But as you can see there, perfect, and runs lovely and smooth. Now, with regards of these, I've only nipped this up. You shouldn't ever use the nut to drag through the pin. The pin will find where it wants to sit, and then over time, once you've ridden the bike a couple of times, just double check these, give them another little nip, just to make sure they're nice and secure. But I'm really happy with that. So that is another job done and complete. So I've got a little ahead of myself, and I've just loosely placed the bars in place. I just wanted to see how they look. And as you can see, it's really starting to come together. It looks amazing. So I'll probably leave these in place. I'll just make sure that the headset is nice and secure this bolt that goes through here, which holds the bars in place. And then that's also the bars fitted. So I quickly just refitted the chain guard. And with that, I've actually managed to find some original fixings. So I can use the originals. The ones that come with or from Paul at Chopper Central are fantastic. And it is mainly because parts are really hard to find. This doesn't have the original nut on the rear. It has, if you could just see there, a hex nut. I'm more than happy with that, because it is at least the original domed screw. I've just polished it up. And then the slightly smaller one on the rear. And this one is fitted with an original square nut. So that's fantastic. But yeah, the reason I have refitted it is just to test to make sure it doesn't foul, because I've had to straighten these arms. And what you do to achieve that, I've got this pole here. And you just lay the bike flat and you just slowly lever the arm. Not too much pressure because these are soft. Because this was a bit of a banana when it came in. But as you can see now, that clears absolutely perfect. And even with the pedalling, which does protrude ever so slightly, that is more than enough room. And I've done the same with the other side, just to make sure. There you go. Lots of clearance, which is perfect. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube which show you this technique. That's why I used it. So yeah, more than happy with that. It's not going to ruin the paint. Just a small detail, I know, but my R-nuts and the new clamp bolts have arrived for the sissy bar. Now this is just something that I've wanted to do. I have seen this on a couple of choppers and I really love the little details of these R-nuts. So I've decided that I'm going to fit them to the sissy bar, and I honestly think all of this now, all being re-chromed, looks fantastic. And I think for now, guys, that is all I can do. I'm still waiting on some parts to arrive to continue. I will nip up and secure the handlebars in place to make sure they are all good. And I may even loosely fit our newly rebuilt shifter mechanism. But that's all I can do for now. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you are enjoying these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel and give it a thumbs up. And I also love hearing all your comments, your advice, and all your feedback. So with that, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.